Let's go back to Rome in 1921. Picture a city where going to the theater was a polished, predictable event. But inside the Teatro Valle one evening, the predictable vanished. The audience erupted into chaos. People were out of their seats, aggressively shouting at the stage. The loudest insult cutting through the noise was manicomio, madhouse. They weren't yelling because the actors were missing their cues or the set fell over. They were furious because what was happening on stage didn't behave like a story. The audience was actively protesting the sight of someone dismantling the basic, comforting rules of the theater right in front of them. The man responsible for this uproar was Luigi Pirandello, and the work that caused it all has one of the most intriguing titles in theater history, 6 Characters in Search of an Author. Pirandello scrapped the usual polished opening. When the audience sat down, there was no grand curtain raising. Instead, they just saw actors in their everyday clothes, milling around on a bare stage, trying to get through a normal daytime rehearsal. Then, the rehearsal is interrupted. 6 complete strangers wander onto the stage out of nowhere. They aren't actors. They claim to be unfinished fictional characters whose author abandoned them before finishing their story, and now they need someone to write it. Pirandello was pulling back the curtain on the act of creation. Instead of watching a story, the audience was watching the struggle to make one, a play that refuses to hide its own strengths. This animated diagram shows why that 1921 crowd felt some lost. A standard play moves in a predictable, straight line. Pirandello threw that away, replacing it with a disorganized rehearsal that keeps stopping and starting. He blurred the line between reality and performance so well that the audience was completely disoriented. When an actor stumbled or argued with the director, the people in the seats had no way of knowing if it was a genuine mistake or part of the script. The disorientation was so intense that Pirandello realized he had to eventually explain his own logic to the public. In 1925, he published a new edition of the play with a detailed foreword. He explained that these 6 invading strangers were actually discarded ideas from his very own imagination, characters he had thought of but decided not to write. Left half alive in his mind, the characters became desperate. Because their original author abandoned them, they physically hijacked the stage to force the director and actors to bring their story into existence. Once the characters and the actors are stuck together on stage, a conflict breaks out between the 2 groups. The characters are carrying a dark history. They want to show their pain exactly as they experienced it, raw, ugly, and entirely unedited. But the theater practitioners have a very different goal. The director and the actors want to take that raw trauma and smooth out the edges, trying to turn it into an entertaining product for an audience. When the professional actors step in to rehearse the scenes, the characters literally cringe. They watch these polished performers try to mimic their genuine pain, and they are disgusted by how artificial it looks. By letting these 2 groups clash, Pirandello highlights the gap between a practiced performance and the unpolished weight of actual human experience. This situation leads to a question that sounds a bit strange at first. Who is actually more real? You, a living human being, or a completely fictional character? This animation illustrates Pirandello's view of life. Our reality is fluid. We grow older, our bodies morph, and eventually our timeline ends. But look at a character. A fictional character doesn't age. Their reality is fixed, sharp, and entirely permanent. Think of Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. Hundreds of years from now, he will still be a heartbroken teenager standing in a courtyard. In the same way, Pirandello's 6 characters will be trapped inside their specific family tragedy, forever. Because a fictional character's reality lasts forever, while ours is temporary, Pirandello suggests the character is actually the one with more reality. While that concept caused a near riot in Rome, the rest of the world caught on quickly. Within a year, the play was translated into English and reached the theater districts of London and New York by 1922. The play succeeded because it broke down the invisible wall between the audience and the art, asking people to reconsider how they interact with the stories they consume. Think about the stories you follow every day on your own screens. When you close a book or turn off a movie, Do those characters stop existing? Or are they just waiting in the dark, completely intact, ready to live their reality all over again for the next person who arrives?